And ta-da! We are live with our Typhoon of the Month. It is our monthly guest webinar series. And before we even get into it, for those of you who are tuning in live, if you're watching later on, this won't mean nothing to you. But for those of you who are tuning in live, let me first apologize for first changing the date and then changing the time, since some of you did miss it and were here an hour ago. So I should have popped in an hour ago to remind you that I changed the time. Couple things happened. You know, it's December. We all are busy. And the important thing I had to do, because I switched it from Friday to Monday, is, and I haven't even shown this on Facebook yet, oops, get a new tattoo. So that's the reason, because my tattoo artist was supposed to tattoo me on Thursday. He was in the studio recording an album. So that took precedent over my tattoo. And Friday was the only day he could fit me in. And I wanted to take it home, take some new ink home to friends and family. So, see my rank of importance. But today is Typhoon Summer. Today is a subject I really know zero about. I mean, I know what Pyrex is. I've never bought any. I go to Summer's house and I marvel at the collection. And I know that Summer only displays what she wants to at a season. So there's way more that I have not seen yet. Is that correct, Summer?
That is very, very correct. Way more. But we don't.
And it's funny because on the discussion of it, someone else said, "Oh yeah, I changed out my Pyrex. Don't you change out your tiki mugs, Jason?" I'm like, no, all 950 are on display at all times.
Well, it's a little bit hard to display around 700 pieces of Pyrex at one moment. There are people that do it, most definitely. They have a lot of shelves, probably from, Pier 1 or wherever, that has those square shelves they fit perfectly in, but it's not me,
And you have like many children too.
Yeah, I do.
What do you have, like 7?
It's true.
How many did I see last night? Like 100?
I do have a team of kids that I have 5 children. So the youngest one is the most rambunctious child, and he would break anything. I always tease that something that could last 50 years could get broken in a matter of 5 minutes in my home. So got to be really careful.
Yeah, the first time I was at Summer's house, that one, the youngest one, was bouncing a basketball inside. And in my head, because I'm not a parent, I don't like children, I'm like, take that ball outside. And the second before Summer was about to say that, he hit the burning candle and wax went everywhere. And I looked at our friend Robin and said, and that's why I don't have any of these things running around my house.
It's so true. The second before I said that, that's how he is. His name is Jude. And he definitely, if I would have had him first, that is exactly what he's named after. I have 2 children named after Beatles songs. So,
so this is my one child,
one
child Jude, and my other child Blackbird.
Yes, Blackbird and Eleanor.
And Yellow Submarine is our doggy. All right, so as you can see below my name here, whoop, I am a Pyrex virgin. So I am looking forward to this because, of course, I looked through the presentation to make sure it looked nice, but I didn't really study it. So I look forward to sitting back and learning with all of you. Oh, you can't see my Santa Claus. Much better. There we go. So let's start with the title screen. But what I want to point out is 2 things before we get into the Pyrex. In her hand is bow and arrow, huh?
Is what? I can't even hear you.
I said you got a bow and arrow, huh?
I do. You can see, I couldn't see my screen. Yes. So this is, I love this shot Ben took of me. It is my official name now is Pyrex Huntress to him. So I did pick up this awesome bow and arrow set at a yard sale for a couple dollars, of course, to resell, but my kids seem to really love it. But I also picked up this bowl. If you can see that, it's that green dots bowl. It's a 404, and it is a more rare, hard to find mixing bowl. And I picked that up for $1, which is awesome. Resale value probably around $60 to $70 for that bowl.
So before you go on, I want to address something, because I hear this not in the Secret Beach, not just in the Thrifting Board, but everywhere. If a deal seems too good to be true, and for instance, this one's $1 mixing bowl,
right? People
are like, everyone knows about selling on eBay. Well, no, they don't. You picked up $1 Pyrex mixing bowl for $60.
I did. Well, yeah, I picked up a $60 mixing bowl for $1 at a yard sale. Even last week, I just picked up one at a yard sale for, I don't know. The lady says, I don't know, like 50 cents. I'm like, I gave her $1, said keep the change. But that was a more rare one, a rarer one to find, I should say, in the Las Vegas area. And I could resell that one for $40, the one that I picked up. So yeah, I can pick up something for 50 cents at yard sales.
Magical.
Most of them end up in my collection.
Hey, look, I know about that. And then before we move on to the next slide, do we need to contribute and buy you a new pair of jeans? You got a lot of holes in your pants.
They're my lucky pants, my holy jeans. I wore those last night too when we went out caroling. So there you go, lucky pants.
All right, so I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna run the slides. If you need me to advance and I haven't advanced, just say, hey, Jay, advance, please.
All right, will do. The next slide is just part of my collection. This is usually how people like to display things. They'll buy an old hutch, they'll maybe repaint it, maybe not. That's a big controversy in the Pyrex, wonderful world of Pyrex are, do we paint the hutch or do we leave it the way it is for mid-century value? But mine are both left the way they are. I have two hutches, one right behind me, and then this one is my display hutch in my other room. And this is the one I change out more frequently, the one that you see in front of you. There's obviously my Halloween display, and that's one of my favorite ones because yellow is my favorite color. So I love yellow Pyrex. I love everything about that. Then of course I have my Christmas display in the center. This isn't this year's, this was last year's. And I have a Valentine's display right there. So you can kind of see just what people like to put up in their displays, and you know what hits home for them is just maybe what their mom had or their grandma had, or what it may be, you know, what maybe they had a piece from their grandma and they just wanted to match around that. So stuff like that is a big thing for collectors. So you can move. Yep. My hobby or hoarding, that's my husband might call it hoarding. I call it a big hobby of mine. I have a very, very big obsession with Pyrex, obviously, to have 700 pieces. But I do have my favorite piece is my first piece that I got about 15 years ago, and it's that top picture right there, and that's a daisy. Them citrus bowls as well. So the citrus set is the full set right there, a daisy set with an orange, and then it kind of tapers up into yellow. And I just got really obsessed with this dish. And one of my children, my oldest children, broke the bottom of this dish. I know, how could they? But thankfully, that was about 15 years ago. I went online and I was able to find a replacement for the bottom of my dish. And at that moment, I was hooked because I could buy any variation of this daisy pattern, any size, shape, color, form of this dish, and I was in love. So that was my very first dish right there, and kind of how I got collecting Pyrex. Some history on Pyrex. This is kind of our agenda of what we're going to be going through, is a little bit of history. What is Corningware versus Pyrex? Patterns, dating, colors, size, numbers, some mutant Pyrex, as collectors might call it, and decals, and then some cleaning. How do you clean it, and then listing and packaging. And this is really super important to me because every single day on various Facebook groups and stuff like that that I'm a member of, packaging is a huge thing, especially for eBay sellers. And so it's kind of something I really, really want to just get out there for us as sellers, that we need to make sure that we're doing it the correct way.
Yeah, it's the same in the tiki world. We have a a long 12-year-old thread from not a Facebook group, but from a website about shipping tiki mug disaster. So you spend $100 on eBay and you get a mosaic do-it-yourself kit in the mail. So yes.
Yeah, and that's such a truth, and it's devastating because that, like I said, with my children, something could last 70 years and then one shipping and it's gone. And it might be something that that person has been saving up for or looking forward to, and then they have to find another one. So, you know, we need to do it right. We need to do it right. Some history on Pyrex. So Pyrex is actually owned by Corning Glassware. Corning Glassware is a 150-year-old company out of New York and Pennsylvania. They were they had scientists and led the industry in railroad lanterns. And they created lanterns and glass that was efficient enough to be able to be out on the outside and hit cold air and not explode. So that was a big thing, and they really led the market in making sure that the glass was tempered, and they were able to make and create things for scientists and individuals that could use glass that could be heated and cooled with items inside of it without breaking. So they did make some lanterns. I cut this page out where I had some really cool things on it, but was trying to downsize a little. But if you research lanterns and Pyrex lanterns, there's some really cool stuff out there, and I thought that would be really neat to display on some, like, especially Christmas displays and stuff like that. So I didn't even know that until I was doing this presentation about these lanterns that I'm totally into now. So Ben's gonna have to where am I gonna put those? But insulators, which you can find anywhere, and believe it or not, there are some highly collectible insulators out there. And I call this like the poor man's stained glass, as you would say. Like, you could put an insulator in your window and it would shine out through your whole house. And it's actually kind of like the intro drug to antiquing. When you find an antique insulator, that's what it all starts with a lot of people. So insulators, some of the really expensive ones are what's called like a peach luster color, kind of like a translucent kind of pretty color, but those can go upward of $80, just depending on, you know, size and shape. So something to look out for, especially if it has the Pyrex on there. Lab and medical equipment. I recently sold a thing. I do outside sales, and I recently sold a set of Pyrex beakers for about $50. So just depends. And there's a lot of different markets out there for that kind of stuff. So there's some kind of things with Pyrex history. The clear Pyrex was actually invented by a Corningware scientist. His name was Jesse Littleton. And Jesse, his wife was having a dinner party, and at that time in the early 1900s, they cooked on ceramic or aluminum, that kind of stuff. And she asked if she could have some clear glassware that she could see what was cooking in it, and she was hoping that, you know, obviously it wouldn't break in the oven, which was a big thing for heat tempered glass at that time. So he went and made her a cut off kind of beaker of some sort and brought it over, let her bake in it, and that was the start of Pyrex. And that was 100 years ago now. They celebrated their 100th anniversary just recently. So in 1915, that's when the whole world of Pyrex got started with clear Pyrex. And
his name wasn't Jesse Pyrex? Come on now, that would have been much
more cool. No. So the Pyrex is really funny because I was doing like, what does that word mean? And I think it said it's kind of an arbitrary word, but I did read recently that the fire said the P-Y-R-E is fire, and then the X on the end. Their other glassware was Nonex, N-O-N-E-X. So maybe they just kind of carried that over. So the fire part of it makes sense. As that, you know, you could put a fire inside the lantern. Obviously, you can cook in it, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. We'll see.
Cool.
Yeah. So Corning Glass Company, obviously, we talked about that. That's the parent the parent company in that. Pyrex, 1915. That's when it all started. The World War II kind of. All the men coming back from World War II kind of stemmed the milk glass part of Pyrex. So wives, brides, in the late 40s wanted not their mother's cookware. They didn't want to have the glass Pyrex anymore. They wanted something different, and they really fell in love with milk glass in the late 40s, which stemmed a lot of the market on any kind of cookware was the milk glass. So here's an emblem. I did post the emblems for the different things because people always ask, what's the difference between Corningware, Corelle, and Pyrex? They are all part of the same parent company. Corningware, obviously, it was Corning, and then they added the ware. There are some different things where they might put the Corningware together as one word, and I think that was in the 80s. They actually combined that and made it Corningware, one word. I'm not really a big expert on Corningware. I'm just kind of guesstimating about that time frame when that started, so I'm sorry if I'm wrong there. But so the Corningware is baked a little bit different, and it's more of a stoneware type thing. You can kind of see milk glass is more a translucent kind of coloring versus the Corningware. And then Corelle came along a little after Corningware, and Corelle is more dishes. And they do make compatibles, so compatibles with Pyrex and a couple of different patterns so that you could have your plates and your bakeware all in the same pattern just to color up. And that was, in the 80s, a huge thing.
So I know there's Facebook groups and, excuse me, nutty women, not that you're one of them, who act like bratty teenagers when it comes to discussing Pyrex. Is there the same love for any bit of Corelle and Corningware, or is it all Pyrex love?
You know what? Honestly, there are others. There is a lot of love for Corningware out there. And I did have, this is another slide I cut when I was trying to minimize stuff. You can look up Corningware, and there's some patterns on Corningware that are really, really collectible. Okay. And if you can find the right ones, the right sizes, there are some really cool stuff. There's one with it's a microwavable. That is one other thing about Corningware and Corelle. It's microwavable. It's dishwasher safe. You can bake it, you can refrigerate it, you can do all of that stuff in one dish, just like the Pyrex. The Pyrex doesn't go in the microwave or the dishwasher, but Corningware really, really did put the market through to that. But there's one particular dish, and I don't have it in front of me. I wish I would have got it. It they call it the heartbeat dish, and it's looks like a heartbeat monitor. It kind of goes down like that. It just basically is a microwave. And that dish alone can go for quite some money. And I do have one because a lot of nurses, doctors, that kind of stuff like to have that memorabilia in there. So different ways to collect, you know, it's just all what you prefer. But not so much. The Pyrex girls don't really get into the Corningware as much, right? And probably vice versa on that. I'm not in any Corningware groups. I just have so much other stuff to be collecting right now. So, but there are the different things. So emblems on there, so you can kind of see what the difference is. That's one big thing is somebody's like, oh, I have that. Oh, you collect Pyrex, and they come out with Corningware. Well, not really the same, but thank you. You know, like that kind of thing.
Oh, it's like when friends bring me North American Indian totem poles and go, here's the tiki.
And you're like, thank you, but it's not, right?
Yeah, Aztec and Polynesian, they're the same thing, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They might be made by the same parent company, right? But guess what? Not. So Pyrex sold the Pyrex brand of dishware. So they still make medical equipment, that kind of stuff. They still they sold it to the World Kitchen. The World Kitchen actually does market Pyrex. They actually marketed some for the 100th anniversary, and Pyrex still has stock vested in it. It was in the like 1998 or sometime that they did this for the 100th anniversary of Pyrex, which was a couple years ago, and 15. They came out with these 100th anniversary vintage charm bowl sets that came out a couple years ago. You can find these in Walmart, Target, that kind of stuff. They retail probably about $60 online. I haven't seen any showing up in thrift stores just quite yet here. I personally, there's that fine line of probably in the same with the tiki world of like, do I really like this new stuff? I don't know if I do. It's not really my cup of vodka, but it might be somebody else's to have that. But that's kind of what it looks like. And it does definitely resemble the Pyrex patterns of the past. I have one. This is the clear storage Pyrex, and I don't know if you can see that, the farmer emblem. This is actually called the butter print emblem, and we'll be talking about that a little bit. And you can kind of see those dishes right in front of there that have that as well. So these are the clear ones, clear Pyrex storage, and I use these actually in my everyday life of storing my kitchen. Why would I want to put it in my other stuff that I'm going to display? And here's another one that I picked up, and it has a snowflake garland print on it. But they remade these coming out in old vintage patterns for the collectors, which is awesome. They're kind of listening to their collector side of them. But you can find these as well in Target and stuff like that. And there's some resale value on some of these. Those ones at the top of that picture sold on the 7th of December, and they're Halloween ones. They have some skulls and bats and cats and stuff like that on them, looks like. And there's some other bat ones that just recently sold too, even after Halloween. So some of those, if you pick those up along the way for $1 or $2, you know, you can flip that for a little bit. So
Chris R in the chat says the new stuff breaks easier.
Oh, really? I don't even know. I heard that it was made in China and people were freaking out about that, but I didn't even look at it. It's not really something I even want to mess with, you know. But maybe 100 years from now.
I say, screw that modern stuff. Let's talk old.
Let's talk old. Dating Pyrex, and I had to put this thing on here. It was on Pinterest. What's your Pyrex birth year color pattern? So you can kind of look up what year you were born and kind of see where that goes. And I do have some Pyrex patterns coming up in the next slides. We're just going to be talking about a few very popular ones today. But the dating Pyrex, this is a primary set. So in 1945, that's when the milk glass all happened and brides really wanted not their mother's Pyrex. They came out with this first set of Pyrex mixing bowls. Some of them are marked, some of them are unmarked. If you find a set of unmarked mixing bowls, I would suggest that you put that in the bottom of it. Marked, basically, it might just say Pyrex on the bottom, but it might not have the measurement and the number of those bowls. And that set right there just sold for $80 for that set and $45 shipping. So pretty awesome, actually.
Heck yeah.
For the full set. Yeah. So especially if you can pick them up for $1 or $2. Some other ones. So in the 50s, 1956, that's when all that pink and turquoise and stuff like that came out. Actually, Pyrex had a really hard time selling pink and turquoise dishes, which was really weird because that was the popular colors of that time. So when we're talking about pinks and turquoise, they weren't flying off the shelves like they thought they were going to. And I don't know if it's what drove that a whole bunch, if it just was too matchy for their pink kitchens and their turquoise ovens, or if they just didn't want to serve their husband out of a pink. They could cook in it, but they couldn't serve it out of a pink bowl. I don't really know, but that's when all that happened, and we'll be talking about that up next. So you can see from the 70s to the 80s, that's where a bunch of browns and greens and golds came out.
That's very 70s.
Yes, very, very 70s. And unfortunately, it's kind of like the start to the end of the Pyrex right there. So unfortunate for them. Anyways, you can flip to the next. I know. Some other cookware we're not going to be talking about today, but I did want to mention, just because it is milk glass, and if you come across some of these brands, I personally pick them up. But I do have some in my collection. I don't always collect them, but it's very important for you to know them. The Fire King or Anchor Hawking, it's like Fire King Pyrex is in Corningware, kind of parent company, bought out by Anchor by Anchor Hawking. The Fire King emblem is at the top. That's in a green milk glass color. It could come in a blue, a green, some pinks, yellows, that kind of stuff. And then their most popular pattern, I would say, is that tulips pattern right there. So if you find some of those, that's a collectible item for you. Glass Fake has a lot of casseroles out, and their emblem is really hard if you find a dish that doesn't have a mark on it. It's a marbled, I don't know if you can see this texture. I couldn't really get a picture of it, but
if you hold it right, if you hold it right there, it's perfect.
That's a texture for glass bake. This one is marked glass bake. I can't get the picture of it glass bake, but it's marked. It has like a little wavy line. It says glass bake. But if you pick up mugs or anything like that, and they're not marked, but they have that marbled kind of like stone thing on the bottom, that most likely is a glass bake. This is one of my favorite glass bake pattern. Obviously, it's orange and yellow, and I really like it. It's sunshiny, very summery on that. I do have a Fire King emblem right here. This is a Delphite blue. It's a really beautiful teardrop bowl. It sells for about $60 for a Fire King right there, but it's lovely. And this came in a set of mix of different bowls that you could mix in. You could batter them, and then it has a nice little pour spout right there. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's Fire King right there. Let's see, Hazel Atlas. I don't have, but they are an H with an A in the middle of it. That's what it will say on Hazel Atlas. They actually did a lot of glasses, and they also made these awesome jam jars that are in front of you. Those apple, the pineapple, which is totally me. So if anybody finds one of those, I'd be really up to just hit me up, hit a girl up. But and then the strawberry, and those range. That pineapple one's worth a pretty penny, probably about $150 on eBay right now going. They're really popular, tiny jam jars. They're milk glass inside, but they're painted on the outside. And then the Federal glass, I do have one of those bowls, the circus bowls right there. Federal is a shield around it. So I couldn't get any good picture.
Right there. Yep. Now angle it back. Yep. Angle it back a little bit, just a smidge. Bam, there it is.
Oh, there you go. F with a shield. Okay, so that's a Federal glass bowl. So if you ever come across any of those and the print's nice on them, they can get, Federal glass didn't make a whole ton. They find them up in Canada a lot, and I don't know a lot about Federal glass, but I really like the circus bowl, so I picked this up from a friend of mine. But so if you are a collector of Federal, I'm sorry if I'm getting wrong anything there, but there are some other things. You know, Hazel Atlas, I do have a glass from Hazel Atlas. They do a lot of cups, mugs. This is just a drinking beverage glass, but look at that queen on there. Oh my gosh, isn't she so cute? She's adorable. Anyways, this is a 500 festival, racing festival glass that I have, but so cool. Anyway, some other cookware to look out for. So not just Pyrex, but any kind of, if you come across the milk glass and it's bright, fun, cheery colors, I always tell people, if it's brown, put it down. Do not buy it. Nobody's going to buy that from you. Depends, but you know, most likely it's probably not going to go sell very fast if you do. But this other stuff, bright colors, cheery, fun colors, definitely will. You can move on. Let's go. So patterns. So these are all from PyrexLove.com. They're my go-to thing. You can go on to Pyrex Love and look up any pattern right there. So if you are going to be in the kitchenware section of the thrift store, go into Pyrex Love, put it in your basket, go to Pyrex Love, look up the patterns right there. You can also find them on Pinterest. A lot of ladies have their Pinterest photos right there. Some ones that we are going to be talking about today, Spring Blossom pattern, which is also known as Crazy Daisy. Some people, we're going to be talking about Butterfly Gold. We're going to be talking about some pinks, so butter print, or excuse me, gooseberries there is part of the pink thing, and butter print and turquoise. And friendship pattern, which is not on this one, but you can kind of see they made over 100 different patterns for different people because, you know, everybody's style is different. Totally different. My sister's style different, right? So it was really nice. You could go to a potluck and bring your own dish, and everybody had a different dish because of their style. So very cool.
So there's something you said that if you're not paying super close attention, you might have missed it. And it's a good lesson for really anything, but I'm gonna reiterate it. If you see something you think is good, whether it be Pyrex or a tiki mug or a cool CD, the first thing you do is set it in your cart. Then look it up, or then post in the thrifting board, or then message me, or then message Summer. Don't ever leave it on the shelf while you're looking at it, because you know what happens?
No.
I come along and take it right away from you.
You're going to sneak on in there, my friend, because you know, dang straight, I'm reaching over for somebody for a good piece of Pyrex.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just be honest. Pardon me, lady, I need that.
Yeah. If you ain't touching it, it ain't yours. So
no,
put it in
no,
the
it
cart.
ain't. I'll reach through another aisle. You don't know.
Oh yeah. I've come through shelves to the other side and other racks. Yeah, heck yeah. I'm good.
I know, because
I can shop I can shop 2 racks at the same time. I can split my eyes like a lizard.
You know what's funny about that is that I actually look through racks because Pyrex is actually easier for me to see if it's not right in front of my face. So I'll go on to the other side after I've seen one and kind of look through the racks to see what's on the back side of the rack, right? Like, or aisle, excuse me, the shelves, because you can kind of see through them. So I'll sometimes go on to the other side just to look to see if I missed anything from the one side. So here's some other patterns. There's some funny things. The friendship is on here, the second row over, fourth thing down, that's what we're going to be talking about. But if you can see the salad bowl over, it's, I don't know, 3 from the other side over, it says salad bowl. It's a green thing, and it's actually fruit. And if they actually call this one the fetus bowl, and if you can look at it just right, it looks like a little fetus. Can you see it?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a kind of
okay. So that's actually a pear, but it's not. It is a fetus bowl. And I had one of those in my collection, but I sold that. I moved on from that one. So
I moved on from the fetuses.
And I did put the website down there, if the Pyrex pattern guide at the very bottom. So if you want to ever click on that link, I don't know if they'll come up in these or not, but there's the actual link to the actual patterns. So you can kind of scroll through.
So I would definitely put that in your favorites in your smartphones and go right to it if you're standing at the store.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I call this the You Can't Sit With Us section. Very, very sassy. Popular Pyrex that we're going to be talking about today. Pinks, gooseberry, which include the gooseberries, turquoise and butterprint, the Friendship, Butterfly Gold, Spring Blossom, Space Savers, and new in box, the Dead Stocks. One of my favorites. So that's just my things when I was setting up for another season. So for pinks, very, very cool. Pink mixers. Like I said, in the 50s, this is when these came out, and I tell you, they weren't the most popular, and maybe that's why they are so popular now, is they're kind of a little bit more hard to find out in the wild. You know, I found probably 3 sets in Las Vegas in the past couple of years, here and there, around about Pyrex mixers, and that's on the very end. The mixers are the round bowls. That's called a mixing bowl. The gooseberry Cinderellas, they're white and pink, and they have gooseberries on them. They actually came out with some rare ones that are tan or a cream color with gold, and those are very rare. They could get you up to, I don't know, $300–400 a bowl if you find any of those, and they would be milk glass on the inside, just painted on the outside. And the gold is one of my favorite other favorite things. I for some reason I just love that mid-century gold look. But there's that, and that's actually sold for $169 right there, plus $30 shipping. So for a set of 4 mixing bowls there. And then there's various shapes and sizes of other pink Pyrex that I put on this page. I did want to just showcase one that just recently sold, and that's the Duchess right there. And it's a pink, a soft pink. It's not the same bright colored of pink casserole. And it sold for $1,300. You can see right there, 30. So that one has a gold print on it. It's a very lovely dish. I asked my husband for one for Christmas, but we'll see if that happens. But I mean, lovely. Look at that price. Holy moly. So if you come in across the Duchess, $1,300 doesn't seem too bad for a $5–6 dish, right?
And that's a good point, because when I teach people that we all want to buy the dollar item, the quarter item, the 50-cent item, but I will routinely buy $50 CDs that I flip for $250, $300, because I know the returns there.
Right.
I know my stuff, and I would hate for someone to say that casserole dish was out at a person's garage sale for $100. Well, if you can get $1,300 for it, you toss $100 at them quickly and walk away.
Yeah. I did that on a set of things that I just sold recently. Remember, Jason?
Yep.
I picked up $100 item at a yard sale. They were $100, and I recently sold them for $1,200. So just depends, on what I would pick that up for $100, but maybe somebody else might not. But doesn't help to look, right?
Absolutely.
You pick it up. I always tell people,
now that you know. I say, now that you know where to find the patterns, this will help you too, because you can still be a newbie in this, but at least you can start to see the patterns. Then you know what to look up on eBay, and you can jump off from there. Hey, Summer, I got a question before we move on, and I don't know if you're going to touch on this, but let me ask you: are you going to talk at all about your preference for selling it in terms of taking pictures, or should we talk about that now?
What the pictures should look like?
Yeah. So as I've been watching, I've seen 3 different ways to do it. So are you going to touch on that later on, or should we talk about it now?
Yeah, I will touch on that later on. I can definitely tell you, like, that casserole, the Duchess casserole that's out there, I hate that photo. I do not like that. I did purposely choose that pink gooseberries photo. I think that's amazing with the black behind it. I love that picture. You can see people will put them in their kitchens, put them wherever, but I personally like the ones that are on a black or a white background. But yeah, I will definitely touch on that in a little bit.
Cool.
Turquoise, we're moving into turquoise, and here's I actually recently sold a bowl, that first one, that 404 turquoise one. That's not my listing. I couldn't find it for some reason. I couldn't find it when I went to look it back up, but for the same price, it's $60 right there with free shipping, for a bowl that I paid $5 for at the thrift stores. Thrift stores are kind of into that Pyrex phase too, so things are going to be marked up a little more than 50 cents to $1 at a yard sale. But I would have probably paid upwards of about $10 for that at a thrift store to be able to flip it for 60. But that's just me, because I like Pyrex, so it's just depending on what you like. And these turquoise ones will sell, so that's why I'm getting into things that is sellable for you right now. The pinks, the turquoise, some opals, of which we're not going to talk a whole lot about, but some of these items are really sellable for you. I did put some more expensive items on here. This second one over, the Blossom Breeze, it's a beautiful dish. It's a really rare one that had sold for $510, and that bowl is only 2.5 quarts. Like, that's a tiny bowl when you think about that. So for $510, you pick that up at the flea market or wherever you're going to be. That's a good return right there. And then I also put this blowing leaves one up for, I think this one is listed right now. Actually, it's not sold yet, but $249. That's a good Christmas right there, right, for somebody. And this one on the end, this is from the Pyrex King, Fred Miller. He actually wrote a book on some Pyrex. He's selling this one. This is actually a rare dish that he's selling right now. It's got it's probably got more bids now, but it's not ended yet. At $345 right now. Probably end upward of $1,000. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to watching that one. No joke. Butter prints. So butter prints comes in a lot of different pattern or different sizes of bowls, and we'll talk about that here shortly. But it also comes in a couple of different colors as well. So butter print, the one that you're going to see the most is that turquoise color of butter print, and it's got the farmer on it and the rooster and the little haystack. Super cute, super country. And right now, with that farmhouse chic look that's happening, or shabby chic, all that kind of stuff, people are in love with the butter print dishes. So that butter dish alone right there sold for $45. I do have one of those. I love, super cute. I don't get it out much with those 5 kids and butter. I tell you, slippery slope right there. But $45 plus $10 shipping right there. So, and then the more rare colors on this is the pink, which is obviously going to match those pink mixer bowls that sold for $120 for one dish right there, that 471. And that's a tiny little casserole too. Pretty big return there for somebody. And then the yellow butter print, which totally me, and I do have a full set of these yellow butter, or excuse me, orange butter prints. But that's for one dish, $82. So that set probably, if you had a set of 4, would retail around $400 to $500, just depending if you're selling it online. Pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
And then yeah, heck yeah. Friendship. Friendship is really bright, fun colors of orange and red, and they're patterned, and they're just so friendly. I love them. You can buy Friendship online right here. Buy your Friendship for $15 for the set of those 2 right there. One of the bowls right in the middle at 403. That's the second largest on a 4-piece set for $40 with free shipping. And then there's some other ones right there, some other casserole dishes. They're still bidding on that one, but I did post that. But they also come in different sizes and shapes. And the one that I'm holding in this picture right here, this is a lasagna pan. It's about 13 inches by I think 9, 10 maybe. And it's so friendly and cheery. You can bake it in the oven, you can put it in the freezer. That's the biggest thing of their sales thing. You put it right from the freezer into the oven. So super fun to have on your table at Thanksgiving.
Is that Jello shots in there in that picture?
No, those are my great grandma's cranberries.
Ah, okay.
They're amazing, but I always make it in my Pyrex because why not, you know?
Well, hell yeah.
Yeah. Butterfly gold. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with butterfly gold. It's not really my favorite pattern. Obviously, it's, you know, late 70s, 80s kind of pattern in this gold, but it's very, very popular. And why it's very popular is because people's moms had it. My grandma had that, right? Like they got these for their mom, might have got these for a wedding gift, and one of them broke. And so for resale value on more popular patterns, this is a really great opportunity for people to pick it up and flip it fairly easily. Especially if you have it in your kitchen already and you're like, what do I need that one for, right? I'm moving on to pinks and blues. I'll just flip it for a minute. So this 404 sold for $20, not quite the $60, $70 range, but $20 plus $20 shipping. Honestly, that's probably too much in shipping, but by weight, they are more heavy, right? But I don't know. You can fit one in a standard. You could fit a whole set of nesting bowls, mixers in a flat rate if you do it correctly. A whole set for 4. So in a large flat rate box. And on the end of it, we have some Cinderella mixing bowls. They sold for $45. But you know, if you get them for $1 or $2 and pick them up and flip them, that's what the butter print looks like. And people will pay, you know, $20 to replace one in their set that their mom had or their grandma had or whatever it is. So that's a good way to flip. I flip mostly those ones and the spring blossom that you just moved on to. This one is, I flip these ones locally on Facebook pages or at outside sales, because people don't realize that they love Pyrex until they see it in their hand and they're like, oh, I need that in my life.
Where have you been all my life, Pyrex?
I know. My grandma had that. I need that. Okay, yes, you do. So spring blossom pattern. Also on that, I didn't put another one on the butterfly gold, but there is a butterfly gold 2 pattern that came out, and it's called stems. Butterfly gold stems has stems on the flowers, and that's just a variation of that butterfly gold. But this one, as you can see, the first one is the butterfly gold, or excuse me, the spring blossom 2. Crazy daisies, as some people will call it, is in the middle, that direct middle picture. That's the actual spring blossom. And then spring blossom 2 is a variation of the same flowers. It's just a little bit more condensed or smaller pattern. But a set of that spring blossom 2 pattern right there, $76 free shipping. for the set of 4 right there. So yeah, I'm not really loving these photos on these ones on the selling aspect of it, but you know, I don't know. People want that dish, and so they'll buy it even though. $89 right there for those other ones on the other side. No, it's okay. Move along. We're done with them.
We're done with you.
We're done with that. I want to move on to Space Savers. So Space Savers is probably one of the most collectible items for collectors, and it came in a different kind. They didn't sell them as sets. They came maybe with a cradle, or like the one picture shows a little bit of a cradle right there. You can kind of see in there, and they came with a lid. I do have one right here. I have this Christmas one because it's Christmas time, and the lid does have really pretty stuff on there. It's gold, shimmery, beautiful white dish with this gold. Oh, it's so lovely. But these Space Savers were marketed for casseroles in the 50s and 60s, so you could pre-make your casseroles and put it in the freezer and then take it right out and put it in the oven. So it really was an easy way to save space in any aspect in your freezer, right? Those boxes in your freezer make it a little bit easier than round casseroles. And then you can move them anywhere throughout your kitchen, from your cupboards or whatever it is. So Space Savers are one of the most popular Pyrex dishes that are out there, and they came in promotional pieces. So if you find any of these amazing things, definitely get those listed. I would pick those up. You see my Christmas one sold for $29, or maybe that's not sold yet. I don't know, but $30 and $20 shipping, which is a really good deal, actually. They should probably bump that up a little bit, that listing price. And then these snowflake ones, black and white, really, really popular right now, especially with that country charm look everybody's going for. But to have those snowflakes sitting on your shelf right there for $135 for the 2 of those sets, and one of them came in a smaller size, and then there's a little bit bigger one. So there you go with Space Savers.
Space Savers.
Space Savers. Promotional pieces. Promotional pieces are probably the second most item that you want to pick up. They didn't come in a set. They're standalone pieces. Most of them came with a cradle or a chips and dip bracket that would hold the bowl, and then the base, or the smaller bowl, the dip bowl, would be on top. It would hold on to. So something to always look for when you're out thrifting is, if you do find a promotional piece, go into the metals aisle and look and see if the cradle or the bracket is around there. Also, looking for lids, and I'll talk about that too. If you're, obviously, my dish right here, if it wasn't together, it was in 2 separate boxes, I'll find lids on different aisles, right? Then I'll find maybe the casserole dish, or they'll put the lids in with something else. So just be looking for that. But this golden poinsettia, I did all Christmas stuff because I think Christmas is really hot right now, and it's really great way to, if you have one of these just kicking around, get on and out there and sell it. $45 for that casserole and $40 shipping. And then this other one, this Christmas, it's like holly berries. I don't know what they called it, just Christmas bowl. Oh, berries, pine cones, that kind of stuff. So it's really important that you get the names right on these items too. So if anything, for listing purposes, go onto that Pyrex Love page and get the name right on the dish. Really super important. And then also promotional pieces. This is called the Eyes, and it is more of a rare dish. I do have that set. It did come with a chips and dip bracket, and that chip and dip bracket is really, really, really hard to find. One sold recently for $200, and I actually tried bidding on that, and I got bid out at the last minute. So $200 for a bracket for a piece of metal, which is crazy. But that eye dish, $150 a dish. The smaller ones, $150 for the smaller ones. This is another example of a promotional piece, and this is diamonds. This is the one that you took my photo in earlier, or with earlier. But this one is not marked on the bottom of it, and neither is that Eyes bowl. So there's no markings to tell you that it's Pyrex. You see that?
Sorry, I was
No.
I've been copying and pasting the questions. So before we move on, if you have any questions for Summer, type them now, and I'm copying and pasting them so I can go back and ask her when we get towards the end. And I've got all my notes too right now. I got questions. So
okay, all right. So here's this one. It's not marked. So if you pick up something that looks like Pyrex, right? Like this is the perfect shape of a mixing bowl, milk glass, has color on it, and you pick it up and it's not marked, do not leave that behind. That is if you put that back, you're probably going to be really kicking yourself, because these ones that aren't marked that has this dish, they go upward. This one's probably about 250 bucks right now. This is a really pretty pattern, diamonds. Anyway, so there's some of those, and even one that's dishwasher damaged. You see on that promotional piece and down at the bottom, it sold dishwasher damage, 33 bucks. So I'll tell you a little bit more about, we'll talk a little bit more about that dishwasher damage stuff later, but and these are promotional boxes. These two are some of my favorite. This one just sold, this Starburst, and I have one of those with a cradle. It's behind me, you can kind of see right there. That one. That one's new in box. If go to the new in box section, please, 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 of your thrift store. I'm begging you, just for my own shits and giggles, if I can say that.
Yep.
I want to see what's out there new in box that maybe thrifters are picking up, and it's really exciting to come across these. I've recently sold all my new in box sets except for one, which is of course yellow. But this one sold for $500 new in box. It is a promotional piece, and it's Starburst. It has that incredible mid-century design on it. Of that star, oh, everybody loves that Starburst. And I mean, really without the box, you're probably looking at $250, $300 maybe, but with the box, even more money there. So you're leaving money on the table if you don't go in there and look and see if there's any new in boxes sets for Pyrex if you're looking in dishes. Also, there's that one for $75. That pink one with the pink daisies on it. And then I pulled up some other ones new in boxes, but even primary mixers, $227 sold for. That's crazy, just for that primary set where somebody got an $80, right? We looked at that one that was 80 bucks, and then with the ones with the box and the sticker on it, cha-ching right there. So fun. You can move on. Yeah, cha-ching. So here's what we do with dishwasher damaged pieces as collectors. And so that picture with the eyes, that's my picture. That's my black eyes, my black eye right there. And that's my regular eyes bowl, and then my modified eyes bowl. And my modified eyes bowl is what, as a collector, that dishwasher damaged piece that somebody picked up for 33 bucks. If I would have saw that, I probably would have picked that up, because then I could have had two modified pieces. Basically what you do is you color over it with a Sharpie, and because it is dishwasher damaged, it's taken all of the glaze off of the print. So when you put it in the dishwasher, that's what it will do. It will take away the glaze off the bowl of any kind of pink, and we'll go into that color of dishwasher damaged here soon in full bowls. But then the Sharpie or the black marker will absorb into that color, and so you can basically make any color of Pyrex that you want, right? Any design, just because it's dishwasher damaged. And so collectors like to do that and modify some dishes to match other dishes that they might have, or just big aspirations of dreams of, I wish that this really came in this. Some sellers offer especially on Etsy right now, it's super popular. That's what this one print is for vinyl decals. So if you're into that vinyl decal making, get some pattern prints going for some Pyrex pattern prints. We actually have somebody on the thrifting board that is one of them. She always comments on Pyrex stuff. She makes these. One of these are from her shop, it looks like. And I'm really on the edge with the vinyl decals, because somebody, not a collector, a thrifter, picked one up in a thrift store. Somebody had donated and they thought it was real. So even though I might be into the coloring, they've modified the Pyrex that way, but you know, when my husband gets rid of all my stuff, which he'll never do, but you know, he goes off and donates that to somewhere. and all of a sudden we as resellers are selling it as Pyrex. That's not the right thing to do. And so this one with the fish dish in front of us, that vinyl fish on the lid, that lid is extremely collectible. One just sold and I wasn't really sure. I think it went for $1,300 for the dish with the lid. And you pick that up with a vinyl sticker on it, and I don't know how I feel about that just yet. I mean, I love it. I would love to get one of those in my hands, one of the actual dishes, but just be really careful. So if you're out and about and you feel like it's not right, just kind of give it a little fingernail check, you know, like see if it's going to come up right on the edge of that.
So so say you found a Pyrex like the I one here that had been dishwasher damaged and it was really worth not much of your time. If you have a steady hand and you do color it, maybe even say a fun color, or maybe aim it towards something like red and green for Christmas, or maybe each one's a different color for, like, you know, gay pride, can you then sell that as modified?
I would sell it as modified. Yes, you can. And there are people that will sell these dishes modified, but you better make sure that you say it's modified in your description, right? Like, just be that seller that is going to be open and honest on something. I picked up personally a few years ago, I thought I found a rare thing on Etsy or something like that. It was a lime green 401. And I was really super excited to get it, and I got it, and it was spray painted, and I was super disappointed. I didn't return it. I didn't anything, just because I don't know, maybe they found it like that. We don't really know, but I was a little disappointed. It was only a few dollars, so I was really thrilled to get it, but it was spray painted. So just be really, really careful if you are going to repurpose things, especially these vintage dishes, especially with the group of ladies or collectors, I should say, that you're dealing with. You get a little sassy, so you don't want to sell something to the wrong person. we're a little sassy about our dishes, you know. Don't mess with that. So just be really careful. If you do sell it and it is modified and you're crazy into art, then awesome.
Yeah, I kind of want to find one now and do it myself.
I know. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. I have the most fun modifying. I just recently did one for my friend. It's so much fun if you have those dishwasher damaged pieces to modify them. So here's some measurements, the capacity and the size number. So when you're listing or you're out and about looking, you're going to look on the bottom. On the bottom of the bowl, it has a size number. That number, the 401 or 402, 403, 404, whatever it says, that's where you're going to find what the number of size of that dish is. And then it's going to tell you the measurement capacity. So when you're doing these dishes, or when you're listing these dishes, please make sure you put both of those in your listings. This strawberry bowl in the bottom is an unmarked dish. That's from Fred Miller, one of his collections that he sold. And that one right there, I think, was about $1,500 too. So, and it's not marked on the bottom, but you'll be really sad if you put that down, wouldn't you? I would be totally sad if I dropped that down back on the shelf because it wasn't marked. So, anyways, so some of these pieces, like I said, on there, and the opals won't be marked as well because obviously they're just a plain white dish and they're not marked. So there you go. Sizing. So here's some mixing, some mixers that are there. So those round ones that are completely round, those are called mixing bowls. Obviously, because they're good for mixing in, right? You could bake one of those super cute Barbie cakes in one of these. You can put those right in the oven and bake them, put the Barbie out the top of it, and make an awesome dress. The mixing bowl sizes 401, 402, 403, 404, and then the pint sizes I have listed, or the pints and quart sizes I have listed for you right next to them. I don't know if you know this, but I did it in my favorite pattern right there, so I specifically chose that. And then the Cinderella mixer. So obviously it's that round shape. The Cinderella mixers have the handles on the side. It also acts as a pour spout. I have a Cinderella casserole right here. So on the mixers though, on here the handles are the same size. On the Cinderellas, one is smaller than the other, so you can pour it out into baking dishes or anything like that. So some people love them, some people don't like them, but Cinderella mixers, if they're in your collector set, really part of collecting that, the specific sizes or color or styles, patterns. And then refrigerator sets. This is something that you could obviously put your leftovers in and carry it over to the oven the next day, put it in your refrigerator for later. And they would come in a set of 8 with the lids. So you've got 2 of the 501 size, that's the smallest size. And then you have 1 of the 502, and then 1 503, and then the lids, and they all stack perfectly into your refrigerator. So
perfectly.
And then the casseroles. So we have casserole sizes, and these have lids. So the bigger casseroles, they have the lids that are milk glass, and you can also get the smaller ones with milk glass. And then they made Pyrex just clear glass with the emblem on top of it, or the pattern on top of it of the daisies, which I prefer. I like them because I can see into them. But, you know, as a collector, do you get both sets? Of course you get both sets. So there's some sizes on casseroles, and these are stackable as well. And they come in just different sizes there. As you can see that in my photo, them all stacked tall there. So that's how that would be stacked. So, and they go from the smallest, I have them numbered from 471 down. So you can kind of see the size. This size right here is what the 475 is, and this is a promotional dish, and most of the promotionals came in casseroles, maybe just the biggest 404 dish bowl, or a 403, that kind of thing. So this is a promotional dish that stood alone. All right. What to look for in damaged Pyrex. So when you're out and about, obviously we kind of talked about the dishwasher damaged pieces and maybe modifying them, making them your own. But paint should be shiny. So a full-on dish, the paint should be shiny all throughout. If you can, yeah, can you see that one? Can you blow that one up a little bit bigger, actually, Jace?
The one I was just playing with to get it away from the words?
Yeah. Oh, it was in the word, sorry.
Here, I'll blow it up.
Can you kind of...
There we go.
So this is actually somebody's listing. I hope it's not yours. I'm sorry if it is. But this is a totally dishwasher damaged piece. And it's okay that it's dishwasher damaged, but they didn't have it listed as that. Some people will oil them down. Please don't oil them to sell them, because first off, you're lying. And second, if they put them into their oven, that's just going to cause a creative smoky.
Yeah, that'll be yummy.
Yeah, it would be awful. And you have to wash them if you do oil them down, and you are a collector and you put coconut oil to make them shiny. That's a totally dishwasher damaged piece, but that would be fun to color different colors, right? Like you can make them all sorts of different polka dots there.
Yeah. I see eBay dots coming up.
Right, but that paint really should be shiny. If it is not shiny, it's a dishwasher damaged piece, okay? It's not called shabby chic. Please don't list it as shabby chic style in your references. That drives me crazy. You can list it as a dishwasher damaged piece. Of course, it will, you know, if somebody wants it, it will sell. DWD stands for dishwasher damaged. So if you could put that in your listing, collectors would know that, DWD. Check for chips and flea bites. So when you're checking, just going to give your dish a little rim job. So you're just going to go around the corner like this with your finger, right? And just make sure that there's no chips or cracks on there around the edges. And then, you know, I would just kind of just fill the whole dish, because you're going to be able to fill it. Sometimes you won't see a little sliver of a missing piece in this milk glass. It really does camouflage that. So just kind of give it a little rub around the rim there. Missing paint on a dish, collectors want to know about. So and we'll talk about that in listing photos. So I don't know if I can hold this just right. They're sometimes really hard to see, but I can't hold it just right there. But if I shine it up to the light, you'll be able to see any kind of dishwasher damage, or chips in the paint. So when you're out looking, hold up the dish to the light like this, and look in that dish, because you're going to be able to actually see if some missing paint. It's okay that paint's missing, or there's little chips in the paint. It's okay. As a collector, I'm okay with that, but I just want to know about which ones they are. Same with like you, Jason, with the crazing of things. It's okay. If I really want that thing, I'll buy it, but I just got to know about it.
Absolutely. Crazy in the tiki world, crazing doesn't bother tiki collectors, but I don't want to be surprised by it. I do want to know ahead of time because I'll base my purchase on knowing if it's there or not.
Exactly. Silver markings inside and outside of the dish. See that top corner picture? You can see that's a totally dishwasher damaged piece. Somebody used this Peak stuff, and I've never used it, but collectors swear by it, and apparently it just magically makes all those silver markings go away. But silver markings, I know that a silver cleaner, the kind that you would buy to clean your silver with, will take off that off of dishes. So it's okay that they have them. I just make note in my own listings, and I'll show you one of my listings on that 404, the pictures of it, how it looked. And then lids, when you're out looking, look for lids. I tell you, always go to the lid section, check, because if there's a rare lid in there, you could get some good money for that. And then dish cradles, chips and dip brackets, that kind of stuff. And then mutants. Mutants are really pretty highly desirable pieces. At the bottom, all of those are mutants. Those are all dishwasher damaged pieces. All of these are from my friends' collections. And basically, somebody put these in the dishwasher so much that all the color, the two on the outside were yellow, but now they're just black and white. That's really super cool. That one in the middle is a balloons. It's from a promotional balloons chips and dip bracket. That's the smaller of the bowl, and it really absorbed the color of the bowl. It was turquoise, and the white absorbed that color. So that's a really cool piece and desirable. So some of these dishwasher damaged pieces are desirable, especially if all the paint is gone and the emblem is still there, right? You can see the emblems on there, or the pattern is still on there, but the paint is gone. So now it's an opal dish, right, with the pattern, but it is a mutant, and they really do sell. So if you find anything like that, even though it's dishwasher damaged, it will still sell for you.
And is mutant in the title? Is that a term you use in the title?
I would use it in the title, me personally, okay. Or in your description somewhere, I would definitely use it. But yes, collectors do look for mutants, or I would just make sure I put black and white. People search black and white. So here's how to clean your Pyrex. I'm going to run through this really, really fast. And I'm sorry, my little boy, Jude, my terror, will be coming home any minute now. So if you hear him coming through the front door, you'll know. I'm sorry, but he will be. Pyrex should only be hand washed. Dawn soap. That's what I swear by. That's what my mama swears by. My grandmama, my grandma's grandma, all that kind of stuff, right? Dawn soap, dish soap should take off a lot. Anything, I tell you, hot water, Dawn soap. That's what I go for. Oven cleaner. Surprisingly, you can't put your dishes in the dishwasher, but you can put oven cleaner on the outside. So that first picture of that corner of that dish, I would spray that with oven cleaner, and I tell you, the cheaper the better. The dollar store oven cleaner is the best. I put it in a bag, put it outside for a few hours, take it, bring it back in, rinse it with water, and all that stuff, all that crud will come right off. Please, please, please do not ever put your Pyrex in the dishwasher. That's how they get damaged, and that's how they basically worthless after that, unless they're mutants or you want to color on them, but don't do that. So don't put your dishwasher. Hey girl, never put your Pyrex in the dishwasher. Kind of right there. Magic eraser will take off the color and the layer on top of here, the clear coat. But inside of my dish, I do use magic eraser because it's not going to take off anything in there. Silver cleaner for silver marks. Dishwasher damaged pieces cannot be restored. The Peak cleaner people swear that they're restoring them, but how is it going to put that clear varnish coat back on? I don't know. But
magic.
Yeah, super magic. I don't know. I haven't used the Peak. I need to try it. I need to try it and see how it works, but I haven't. Anyways, you can go on. Listings. Okay, when you're listing, you should have the pattern and the color, the size and the measurements, and the size and the number. So it should say 401, 1.5 pints, right? Like that should be in there. It should have the style of that dish. So if it's a Cinderella casserole, you're going to put a Cinderella casserole. I would always just reference, you can reference back to that website. You can reference back to this if you need to, or just call me or message me on Facebook saying, hey, what style is this? I'm more than happy to help you with that. But I definitely, you should be listing all of those. There's so many times I'll come across listings that won't have the size number on it. And that's really important, especially if I'm looking for a black and white something or other, and it doesn't have the number, but it has the measurements. Why do I want to go and research what the measurement is on that, right? Like, I'm moving on to the next listing. So please, because they're easier to find and easier to find on eBay or in Etsy or whatever you're selling, please make sure you put the size number and the size measurement on there. If you're just listing a 1.5 quarts, I'm not going to go and check if I really need that one. I'm just going to move on to the next seller, honestly, that has the right one on there. So there's that. Oh, we have to skip back one more time. Don't list your items as rare or hard to find if it is not rare or hard to find. Because you search rare Pyrex and a butterfly gold comes up, it's not rare or hard to find. I can find 10 of them right there. So please don't do that. Unless it is rare or hard to find, you know, which I'll be more than happy to help you, then don't do it otherwise. Cool?
Cool.
Okay. Listing photos. So here's my actual one of my listings. This is that one I couldn't find the actual list payment thing on. But this is how I like to list them. I like it on a plain white background, everything. You can see the nice coloring. Also, I did really like that black one. So I might be changing to black backgrounds, but the white is really easy and it looks really clean. And for a lot of people that are into that white farmhouse look, they like the look of it, they'll be like, yeah, that'll look good in my kitchen. So this is my listing of photos. I do a light check. So you can kind of see I have the first one is the bull, the second one's the bull underneath, a close-up of the emblem with the Pyrex. Second one in second row or second line down, that one is the inside of the bull. Like little silver marks that I had made note in, just in the bowl and on the outside of the bowl. The outside of the bowl, I swear that's from putting it in the dishwasher, but this one appeared to have no dishwasher damage. You can see how shiny it is in the first part. But then it also had those little silver marks on the outside. To the ninth photo, this is the light check photos. And you should really, really, really do light check tested on all of your dishes when you sell them. And basically what that is you're just putting it up to the light and taking a picture of it. And I put it right up into my light that I have. I just put it right up into there and then take the picture of it. I crop out my hand because I don't like my hand in the photo, but I just put it right up, and that will show all of the, yep, just like that. It will show all of the outside, any chips that you have in the paint. So this one actually was a really great bowl. It didn't have, I did 4 different sides so they could see all the sides of the bowl, and it only had like a couple of different chips on there. So that's what your listing photos should look like.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. So I'm on a Facebook group, and I asked them for some photos of broken dishes. You know how many photos I got? Oh my gosh, it was unbelievable. This one was just sent last week. Somebody sent that glass vase mug like that, and these are pretty desirable. I picked up a set of these and sold these for $65 for the set, but I'm sure she probably paid $25 for that. And first rule, Pyrex packing club: don't ever let your Pyrex don't ever let them touch the sides of the boxes. Obviously, there's more than one thing wrong with that picture, but it was touching on all 4 sides. There's no way that was ever going to make it. So don't ever let your Pyrex, never should touch the sides of the boxes, because the second they get that vibration on there, it's going to just go. Reinforce the box, or just make sure it is a reinforced box, especially in the corners, so if anything does happen on the corner sides, it doesn't go down. I always put an extra piece of cardboard on the top and the bottom of the box, and then I put styrofoam on the outsides of the sides. So those little sheets of styrofoam, which I do have here, and I use them later to stack dishes because I'm just smart like that. But look at that stacking. Look how perfectly it stacks. Anyway. But those little styrofoam sheets that you can get, really do. This one's a thicker one, but it's just that easy. I just put that around the sides of it, and it's that easy to ship like that.
Bring that back. You weren't on the big screen. You are now.
Oh, sorry. Can you see it?
There we go. Perfect.
You can get these packing supply places. Anyways, but I use them after, so they're in my Pyrex. But anyways, I want you to wrap it like it's going to the moon. Bubble wrap the crap out of that dish. Put it between some styrofoam. Put an extra piece of cardboard on the top. It should make it. This dish right here, I don't know if it was this exact listing. I don't think it was, but $140 dish, and it broke like that. And she said there was no bubble wrap, just butcher paper in that shipping. And that is the saddest thing. That's called a music staff. And obviously, it's a desirable space saver. And dang, that's so sad right there. Like that, first off, cost that seller $150, right? And that poor buyer was looking for that dish probably forever. So
yep. Had a party that Friday night,
cool.
Needed the dish for the party, and this is how it showed up.
That was it. You know, you wanted that mid-century look. This one was actually featured on Mad Men, this exact dish, during a part of the show. So cool. But yeah, make sure you're wrapping it like it's going to the moon in bubble wrap. No empty space should be in this box. So when you ship any kind of glass, anything, you want to make sure that there's no empty space for it to rattle around in. So even if you have the sides reinforced and the cardboard and this is where I talk about styrofoam a lot, just make sure that every space is filled in that box. And this person got this. This was a new in-box collection set, and they shipped it, she said, with 50 packing peanuts basically in there. It was just rattling around, all loose, nothing. I mean, I don't know what she spent. That's called Midnight Bloom. It's a beautiful dish. It's purple. One of the only purple dishes Pyrex made. And that shiny and new. But
shiny and not so new.
Shiny and not new anymore. So the dish was just loose in the box and just rattling around. They shipped it in a box, in the original box, in a different box, which they didn't reinforce anything in the original box, and they just put it in the box. So, but killing me, Smalls, killing me. Anyways, there's some more information. I do have some specific books. I do have the books, the Hot for Pyrex book, who is Fred Miller. I kind of talked about him. He's the Pyrex king is what they call him, but he actually works for Pyrex still. This is the the Hot for Pyrex, Rare and Hard to Find Vintage Pyrex book. Megan McGrady, she co-wrote this book. Fred is the mug, and it's really cool. This is all rare and hard to find stuff. So I love this book. You can go on to hotforpyrex.com. All of her rare stuff that she finds, she puts right on there. So that's a more rare version of the Pyrex Love website that I referenced before, and it's on here. And then the Pyrex Passion book, I like this one because it has all the regulars stuff. You can find these on eBay or online or whatever. But Pyrex Passion book, I really like this one, just for easy reference. It's not good. Nothing in here you're going to find in Megan's book, which is amazing. And then that's it there.
All right, so let me ask you. And that was awesome. Yay! That was. I am so jonesing to go buy Pyrex right now, but I want to ask you a couple questions.
Sure.
So you could stack the bowls like that, or upside down, or in each other. So okay. Is there a preferred way that most Pyrex buyers would want to see them in a listing?
Go back to the other picture, the first picture that you said like that. My picture of them stacked. That's how I prefer. Yes, that picture right there. I would prefer you to stack them like that. Those ones that are upside down scares me to death because they are a little bit slippery. And one little wrong move on there, you're gone. But please stack them like this. Honestly, you know what the best thing for stacking is? My friend, who is a Pyrex lover as well, told me this. Ramen noodle packets. So she stacks.
That was going to be my follow-up question.
She stacks all of hers with ramen, and I have now followed suit because what is that, like 20 cents? And they're lightweight in my displays. All ramen in the bottom of it. I just told you my top secret. of that. This one probably was stacked with mugs because it's a lot taller. You won't get this taller look, but those Pyrex mugs, they will definitely be stacked. They stack them a little bit taller. But yeah, ramen soup packets, they're perfect for that. What was your other question?
I was gonna say, and here's my little secret tips. Here, coming to my house, you'll see the tiki bowls stacked from biggest to small. Okay. What I use is the caps from Diet Coke bottles.
Really?
Because they're small, and I usually do like 3 of them. They're small, but they give it enough height, but you'll never see them because they're smaller than the pedestal. They're, you know, so.
Right.
And I always had some laying around, and that's just what I ended up using. All right. So, so shipping costs. If you're looking at a rare piece and you're the buyer, will you even pay attention to shipping costs? Will it ever scare you away? Or if you see that holy grail that you're looking for, do you just not even give a shit?
Okay. Now, I look at it from 2 perspectives, the seller and the buyer, right? As a buyer, when I see something that's going to cost me $1,000, I'm like, can we just include the free shipping, right? Like it's over. Or maybe if you're going to auction something, put it in there like, hey, if it gets over a certain amount, free shipping is included. I don't really know how I feel about that, but it does never deters me from buying a piece that I love if I have to pay shipping. But high shipping costs, yes, $40 for shipping when you're like, I know I can fit. Personally, I could pack it perfectly to fit in a flat rate shipping, right, with insurance or whatever it is. I know that that's not going to cost me more than $25, right? So let's just be honest, and as shippers, that would kill me to, I see you found a rare, sir. I like that one.
Yeah. So I just wanted to show this because when you started talking, I mean, right at the beginning, I'm like, let me see what sorted by highest sold is right now. So if you weren't watching the little square in the bottom as I was getting this set up, you might have seen the price. But if not, here is the bowl.
I followed this one.
Do you have one of these?
Right. Yeah, I do not have one of those. So this one, tell me how much it sold for. I did follow it, but it sold for quite a bit of money. And look at that. I mean,
it's
good oven cleaner right there.
Yeah, it's not, you know, it needs a good cleaning. So those of you watching live right now, prepare to poop your pants because this sold for $3,172. What?
Right. If you go to that, go back to my presentation. Yeah, $3,000. Go back to my presentation under the patterns. There's a really, what they call the holy grail of Pyrex out there. And it's really not, it's really cute. Maybe one back or one forward, whatever the next one is. Oh, it's not on there. I'm sorry.
Oh, you trickster, you little trickster.
Sorry, I thought it was on here, but I'll show you in this book. There's one with clovers and hearts on it. It's called Lucky in Love.
Oh, I know Lucky that one. That's what everyone looks for. That's the one thing I know.
Yes, that one, the last one of those sold for $7,000. So, you know, when you're out and about, I actually placed a bid and I didn't get this one either. I can't even believe it. I placed one on a black Starburst. That's that space saver that's right up here in front of me. But it was black with the gold mid-century Starburst on it. And that one, it sold for, I think, $2,700. You know, my husband put a cap on me at 25. I should have just went up. And that one I actually would have paid shipping on, you know, when you have to pay the shipping, you pay the shipping. And I kind of found that out with collectors that they will pay the shipping if it's, you know, what do they care if they're spending $2,700? What's another $20 for shipping, right? Whatever.
Exactly. So Garrett Cooper asks, and I think we've kind of addressed this, but I'll shoot it out there. How much does condition matter on a super rare pattern? So, for instance, if it has a chip or two or no lid or scratches in the pattern, from my perspective as a tiki collector, I would want it if I needed one until I found a better one.
Yeah, and especially with those super rare patterns, like, you know, butterfly gold or one of those, even some pinks and turquoise, it's not really that great, right? But on one of like that black Starburst, if the condition was bad, I probably would still bid on that. So I wouldn't really worry that much. Chips, big chips would probably concern me more. Little slivered chips, not so much. But yeah, like you said, I'll even have some dishwasher damaged pieces in my collection until I find the right one for the job, right? Like It's okay. It's suitable. I'm just going to display it anyways. So just be really cautious. I love that picture of those 4 sets all stacked up.
I have a tiki mug missing the whole face because it was shipped to me poorly. But what I wanted to show was the back, because the back was the rare part. So it sits on my shelf, and every once in a blue moon, I got to redo my shelves, and I always forget. I picked that mug up, and for like 1 second, I'm like, somebody broke my mug and stuck it back, and then I'm like, oh no, I put it that way.
No, I'm just waiting for the right one to come along.
Exactly.
It's Mr. Right now.
Mr. Right. Chris R wants to know the holder brackets. They're being remade. How do you tell the difference between original and current?
You know, they're really, really hard. I don't have a current one that is being remade. They're selling those for like $25 a pop. And I actually think it's amazing that they are, because, you know, I have a couple different sets. I rotate my one bracket out. I do have one chips and dip bracket. Well, I have a couple of them, but the one style that's more popular is, I do have one of those, and I rotate it out between sets. So I can't really display 2 of them. I don't think that they're going into rotation at the thrift stores just yet. So I wouldn't be able to tell if they weren't. They're probably more of a soldering thing. I'll put a picture of mine on a thread later of my and dip, if that's better, and then you can kind of look at them. I don't have it with me
so now Chris is asking you questions in code. Are you going to talk about JAJ and RCope?
Okay, so those are both, JAJ is an English Pyrex, the other one's a French Pyrex. This is US Pyrex only. That's a whole nother segment. I do have some JAJ here. I did have some out, but we're going over way over my segment.
Maybe Pyrex Part 2 with Summer later on.
Pyrex 2, I'm sorry, there also is some Australian Pyrex as well. So, you know, and those Australian Pyrex is beautiful. It's fun, funky colors. I mean, I just love that. And the JAJ, it will say Pyrex on it. It will also have a crown. So if you see that emblem come up, I do have one right here, a JAJ. I had it out just to kind of go for it, but I don't know. They're so hard to take pictures of it. There you go. See that crown on there? That means it's English Pyrex.
Now, Kara Cooper asks, how about used but still has the box for storage? Is that still good? Yeah. Anytime you can find the original box in any product, especially any product, no matter the condition. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And the best thing about our grandmas is they save those darn boxes. I love that. So look for those boxes. You know, they might be storing something else in them. I have a box my grandma stored some old something with eggs in them, and I was like, what the heck are you doing, Grandma? Give me that. So, you know, replace her box, be nice, and say I need that, and those boxes will sell just the box.
Oh, heck yeah.
Like you said with the packaging and stuff like that. Just somebody just wants the box, you know?
One time, Summer, I was at an estate sale here in town. So if you've been to my house, those of you who have been here, imagine the tikiness in my house, and it's all collector plates. Every inch of wall space through an entire house was the collector plates by series, like South Pacific, Wizard of Oz. And as you purchase whatever you wanted, the person around the company said, by the way, every box is in the garage, but you got to go find it. And so I walked in the garage, and there's all the buyers and thousands of original boxes. I was like, what? All right, we got one last question for you. We'll wrap it up so you can take care of the kiddies after school. From Chris, we are often banned from asking on Pyrex groups, what about the forbidden L word? That would be lead and lead testing.
The lead and lead testing. Now, a lot of people, here's Jude. You want to come say hi? No, he's getting nervous. So a lot of people will say, there he is right there. Say hi. A lot of people will talk about lead and lead testing in there.
Come on. I think I farted.
Oh goodness. There you go. That's my 7-year-old.
That is a quote. Summer just like crushes on knowledge, and that'll be the quote of the webinar.
Anyways, lead testing. So hilariously enough, if you ever test one of these, if it doesn't have the outsider coat on there, that's lead paint probably underneath there. Sometime in the later of the 70s, they fixed all the lead paint or whatever it may be, and they didn't. But I would be more cautious with the dishwashing damage pieces. It's not going to be in here. And I will tell you, I have personally been tested for lead poisoning, and I use my dishes every day. And guess what? I don't have lead poisoning. So I don't have any traces of lead in my system. So just, I mean, yes, you're going to be bound from that. Some other questions, if you are on some groups that they do not like, this just leads into them, is the what is it worth question. All right, just be really cautious, especially if you're going to sell it on eBay, that you don't ask what it's worth on a group setting. If you want to know, personally message me. I'll tell you what it's worth, right? Like, I would rather you do that unless it's on the thrifting board or whatever and they haven't done the research, all that kind of stuff. If you go into one of these groups and you're like, what is this worth? And then you turn around and sell it, they're going to know. All those ladies, they're going to know that you just asked them what it was worth, right? So people will joke about what it is actually worth. Oh, I'll give you $1 for it, right? That's what it's worth. It depends on what it's worth to you as a collector, right? That kind of. Anyways, there you go.
You know, we're going to end on this because I often tell you all to keep your eye on the prize. And I'm going to say Jude's eye on the prize was, I want to get on this video and talk about my farts. So well done. Jude succeeded. All right, real quick.
There you go.
Real quick, before we thank Summer, a little housekeeping. So my webinar this month will be on vintage tiki mugs. It'll be on my birthday. So make sure to tune in live. It'll be the morning of December 30th. I'll give you the time soon. And I'll have a full audience. I think Summer said she was going to come down, and Robin and her husband will be here, and Kim and her husband will be here. Stacy will be here. So we have a full office of people. We'll be giving you, and like with Summer, I'll have live examples along with the presentation to show you the markings and the bottoms and the chips. So oddly enough, not planned out, both webinars this month are about breakable ceramics, basically.
There you go.
So you don't even have to go over the packing because Summer already covered it. But speaking of Summer, thank you very much. This was awesome. I have to go find Pyrex right now because I'm so jonesing. It's like a drug I haven't even had, but I got to have it now.
Oh, you don't even know you have it until it's all, you're going to be swapping out tiki mugs. You know, honestly, I do have a couple tiki pieces. Yeah, this kid, I tell you, this is Jude right here. I have tiki mixed in with my Pyrex because I like them together. So guess what? Maybe you'll get some for your birthday, buddy.
Oh, look at that. All right. All right, Summer. Thank you. Right. Thank you, Jude. Thanks for making the best funny of the webinar.
Better happy birthday. Bye, Jace. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.